Hello and welcome. I'm Çağlayan Arkan, Vice President of Manufacturing Industry at Microsoft. We're going to explore today what I like to call the art of possible. The art of possible is not about the status quo. It's not about incremental improvements. It's about thinking differently, thinking out of the box, thinking much bigger in the face of today's challenges. It's about getting out of your comfort zone. It's about disrupting. And we will focus today's discussion on digital twins. We will look at how that capability, that technology can help your business not only recover, but thrive in today's very, very challenging times. It's about becoming more resilient, changing how and where work gets done, challenging existing operating models, and reimagining your factory or your manufacturing operations in its entirety. Joining me here today, let me welcome Andy Pratt from the Marsden Group and Tracey Countryman from Accenture. We have some exciting updates to share around the work that our three companies are doing, making it easier for manufacturers to innovate with digital twins and to ensure business continuity. Andy, Tracey, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Andy, let's start with you. Why are digital twins so relevant, so important, particularly today in the manufacturing industry?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is obviously with the disruption we've seen, the challenges, the need for agility and changing how business models run. What twins are allowing us to do is kind of model the complexity of these facilities, both individual facilities and the specific pieces of equipment, but also the wider networks that they interact with in the kind of supply and demand context that goes on there. And so being able to have these allows some of the really complex questions to be asked, allows consistent insights to be delivered. And when we're seeing the ability to separate knowledge assets from physical assets while still being empowered as if they were there in the site, making decisions and driving performance. So, we're excited to see how they keep being deployed, but being able to absorb that level of complexity, especially when you scale across tens, 20s, and hundreds of sites, opens up a whole new paradigm for how you can ask questions of analytics and drive the value and insight.
The interesting observation here is manufacturing had historically 20, 30-year cycles. Now we're looking at dealing with all that complexity, all these disparate data sources, and getting ahead of it in terms of the insights. And you said one thing that's very critical in terms of demand and supply. We have never really been able to do that as an industry in terms of forecasting demand and matching supply and inventory and our entire operation to it. Therein lies like billions, if not trillions of dollars as an industry globally. So Tracey, what is your view on the relevance of digital twins and why and how they're important today?
Yeah, so look, I think everybody is trying to tackle their digital journey and transformation. Some industries more ahead than others. And when we look at digital twin, it's really enabling more real-time optimization and simulation within the manufacturing sites. And really, we see clients kind of going after a few areas. First one, yield and throughput. So how do I get more out of my existing fixed assets that I have in there? Second one is really kind of around waste and yield improvement. Third is really energy optimization, especially today. If you look at all the announcements around sustainability agenda, carbon neutral, and the commitments, right? Digital twin is starting to create real opportunities to look at how you optimize your energy within your production facilities. And then the last one's really around worker productivity. So how do I have safer workers and more productive workers by getting them the right information at the right time?
So I was right when I said it's a completely new approach in terms of the art of possible. What you just said is that, we're not only on top of our data, we're simulating ahead, we're getting predictions, we're able to act on them, and we're bringing the entire operation assets, all of the performance metrics and our people, and we'll get to we'll double click on all of that. Andy, I'll come back to you. Let's bring all of that with some real world implementation. I think our audience will be familiar with our work at Unilever. They went from a pilot or a minimally viable product implementation in one factory to now, and they will tell us how many, and just operating on digital twins and completely redoing their manufacturing operations. Andy, can you tell us a bit more in terms of the work at Unilever and the impact that our work had done on their business?
Yeah, Çağlayan, the Unilever partnership for all of us is huge. It's exciting. They're kind of they've seen the potential, they've realized some of the value, and now they're continuing to scale that value. We're continuing with the foundations that were there at the beginning of the program. So very much geared around unlocking the data insights from the facilities, empowering the operations on the front line, let them discover, react, interact with, and drive their own conclusions to make changes and improvements in the facility, as well as the advanced applications in kind of, autonomous process control and advanced process control. And it's really exciting. I think Tracey just mentioned it earlier, but there's been a renewed focus, especially in Unilever, on how do we use these twins to drive sustainability. So whether that's optimizing energy to make the same products with increased quality, how do we understand and monitor the impact of that on the performance of the operations? And then, in getting into some of the much more advanced applications where you see each node within the network, each factory node within the network being connected into an intelligent array. And then even going further and connecting that to the wider supply chains is the whole vision there.
That's amazing. And I think it's fair to say that was perfectly timed as far as Unilever's kind of investment and our engagement there, because we're coming from, as an industry, we're coming from like, you got to have the employees on the shop floor. It's all employee dependent, and COVID was a huge disruptor, obviously, this pandemic, and then being able to operate remotely is huge. Being able to protect your people, obviously, is even bigger. And so, Tracey, this is an amazing opportunity for everyone. Can you share from your vantage point in terms of some of the early implementations and some of the learnings from the Accenture's point of view?
Yeah, Çağlayan. So I think we've been helping clients across a broad array of digital strategy, road mapping, North Star, capability building, and a lot of kind of proof of concepts and pilots across the board. And when I look at things like digital twin and advanced analytics, I think the thing that we encourage most of our clients to not do is lead with tech. Right. So a lot of the digital stuff is all around the technologies and the great new things you can do with cloud compute, AI, machine learning, right? Even reinforced learning and kind of simulation. But, that's kind of a technology trying to find a problem. And we really encourage our clients to turn that around and say, where's the value for my company? What's the pain point I'm trying to solve on the shop floor with my workers? And then how can I use digital twin type technology to solve that problem? And what's the value? So being really laser focused, right, on the value proposition and what you're trying to get done and how you're going to measure success of that. And it's not always just quantitative benefits.
Amazing. Andy, any learnings or insights from your vantage point?
Yeah, I would just reemphasize that the importance is letting the technology meet the problems that are there, not the other way around, because some of this stuff's advanced can be very complex to implement, and if there's not clear value, and I think a lot of the challenges is like 2 years to listen to the problems that are on the front lines, and then just enough complexity in the technology to solve the problem. We don't want to be, putting more than we need to. And so what you want to do is just get enough complexity that really solves that problem. And because the reduced complexity allows scale, it allows value quicker, it reduces the cost of implementation. So I think a lot of the challenges we're going to face is how much complexity in these twins is enough to really drive transformative value, and how do we not let programs get stuck up, caught in all these extra details.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. I'll go back to the notion of art of possible, and I want to emphasize the leadership aspect here, right? You have to have a vision to actually change as a manufacturer how you work and who you are, and maybe your business model, and then you have to have a way to bring that vision to life, and that is where technology comes into the picture and kind of meets those problems. And then you go from a problematic, siloed, not using data much state to being able to become much more intelligent, resilient, and have business continuity and bring everyone along. So there's a huge cultural and leadership aspect here. The other thing, Tracey, I want to come back to you. Obviously, standing up one plant is only to prove that actually there's a lot of outcomes to be observed. There's a lot of value to be added. But how do you get from one or two plants to hundreds? And what are the outcomes that we can kind of promise manufacturers that they will see?
Yeah, it is the question of the year. I think we just finished a research piece called Race for Operations, and we talked to 600 clients, and we did a digital maturity index to look at where all the industries fell, and they're doing nothing today, doing a proof of concept, actually piloting at multiple sites to scale. And the reality coming across all of them is the average is in between the I'm piloting and I'm starting to shift a little bit to scale. So everyone's really trying to tackle that particular problem or opportunity, better way to say it, on how they can do it across multiple sites. And I think, what we've seen people be effective is when they create a proper engine or muscle or factory, you can call it whatever you want. It's the capability or center of excellence that's going to allow you to deal with multiple factors. So one is, do I have my foundational stuff set up around OT security? And do I have it set up around the data lake or the backbone, right? Do I have an Azure cloud that for IoT and asset related data and engineering data to come together to solve and enable things like a digital twin? So that's kind of a decision you have to take fairly early if you're going to scale. Second thing is the innovation process itself. So there's lots of ideas, right? And the clients and the companies know absolutely where the ideas are. There's no shortage of use cases around digital or twins or how many problems we want to try to solve with a twin. It's much more about, as you start to scale and implement and pick the right use case that can scale, and it's not unique to one location, right? How do I manage the portfolio of all those capabilities across a broad organization, both from a resourcing, investment, and even setting expectations about what the plants and operations can expect to get right from this kind of solution? And then lastly, I think is really the change management and winning the hearts and minds of the people. So having a really focused kind of last mile approach to engaging the workers really early, user-centric led design for really solving their problems and their pain point on the site, and then bringing them through the journey across that's going to enable scale.
Tracey, this is so well said, and I'm really excited about our work between our three companies to prepackage this whole offering so that we could accelerate time to value for our customers in getting them from a couple factories as an MVP deployment and then get to really hundreds. This is where the big bucks come in. And I know, Andy, you love this subject. You want to say a few things about the prepackaged nature of and accelerated deployments?
Yeah, for sure. I think what we've done is we all sat down together and says, like, we got years of lessons learned on the challenges of bridging the gap between OT and IT data streams. And it's like, you can't ignore how complex that sometimes is. It seems simple. It's like, oh, I have these assets and they should have lots of data on them. Let's just use that data. But there is 1,000 pitfalls to fall into in kind of executing that. So one of the first pillars was, let's remove the barriers that enable secure collection of all these key data points, have them empowered in the cloud, have it in a vehicle that reduces cost for implementation because we can move faster. And it's really funny because you often think of innovation in the super crazy stuff with the advanced simulation twins and all the other tools, but I think we put as much energy into innovating on how to do this consistently, repeatedly, get a workflow down, because if you think about it, every second of every day, there are data points on pieces of equipment in factories, not captured, not recorded, and lost. And really what we're losing there is an opportunity to improve, an opportunity to understand, and an opportunity to make a difference. And so first and foremost is a tool set that enables that to be rapidly deployed, standardized in its way, support common data models that are emerging in the industry, and then be able to augment it with the intelligent components as well. So there's a whole suite in there, but I think a big message is that also we got to make sure that the individual competitive edge, a tool set that lets them drive and protect that very sensitive IP, is empowered in the teams that are going to be doing that. And really unlocking the amazing talent that exists in these factories has been a lot of the mantras of the tool sets that we're rocking and rolling with. So, and then also sprinkling in the kind of some of the advanced visualizations and getting ready for the ARs and VRs and how this emerging technology is going to be applied. Not necessarily saying it's a requirement for first implementation, but be ready to absorb the value as that becomes apparent in these emerging tech. So we're excited to kind of team up, play our role in some of the kind of advanced technology applications and how we package it and get complexity down, and then partner with just amazing organizations who are built to deliver that value at terrifying scale.
I can tell you're excited.
Put me in, coach.
So look, this is an extremely energizing conversation, and I'm just so excited for our partnership, but more importantly for our customers in terms of coming out of this pandemic and huge disruption. We can really equip them with power, with capability. It is the art of possible, is it not? I cannot wait to get started. Any final commentary, Tracey?
Yeah, I just, you mentioned the partnership, in our program of us three coming together with kind of the technology platform and the innovation you guys are doing, leading around cloud and operational technology environment, right? Marsden with the massive innovation they've done around Twin and the capability to really, as Andy said, connect the assets, right, in a all new, lower cost way, and then Accenture being able to help to drive the scale across global and hundreds of assets and plants right around the world, including kind of the change management and the value management components, right, of it. We have clients lined up, right, with our joint investment to be able to bring this new emergent tech and the art of the possible to today.
This is just fascinating. Imagine the first MVP being stood out in like a matter of 10 weeks, really. On the one hand, you get to see your kind of all your metrics, quality, performance, asset, etc. You get to protect your people and then save a lot of money through this partnership. Now, we talked about factories today and manufacturing operations and perhaps a digital thread of all of that. But our capabilities as a partnership between Microsoft, the Marsden Group, and Accenture are not limited to factories only. You want to talk supply chains, you want to talk design and engineering and simulations and certifications in a virtual environment, you want to talk buildings or service-centric business models, product as a service, all of that. We are prepared to talk to you and again go to other discovery or value capture, value realization journeys together. So I invite everyone to come and talk to us. Reach out to the Marsden Group or Accenture or to Microsoft and get engaged. And you can get started today by downloading our new ebook. And if you want more, once again, come and reach out. Thank you all very much for listening.
That's great. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thank you.